Hi, friends. Welcome. We've got about 5 minutes until we get started. So take time to settle in and get your space set up. And we'll let our community come together over the next few minutes. Thanks for being here. Hi, Amy. Hi, everyone. As you're joining, make yourselves comfortable. We'll get started in just a few minutes. Okay, I think we're right about 4:30, and so we will get started. Thank you for being here. Yeah, please say hi in the chat box if you have a chance. It's always nice to know who is here, and to know that I'm practicing with you. So we're going to get started in child's pose. So go ahead and come onto your knees and your shins. And take your time arriving there so that when you settle in, it's in a way that feels really supportive, and it's in a way that allows you to open up to the practice organically. Not like we're trying to force ourselves into it, but we're allowing ourselves to open into the process, to step willingly into the process. In this little bubble of child's pose that you create with your body, with the arms alongside the ears and with the face near the mat, and there's this deeper sense of personal connection, perhaps. And if that's present for you, go ahead and embrace that. The opportunity to tune out the rest of the world for a little while and tune more deeply into you. The sound of your breath, feeling through the shoulders and the back body. It's when we get quiet that we have the opportunity to really listen. So much of our day can be filled with noise and chatter. And that's important too, that connection with other people and that interaction with other people. These quiet moments, we reflect and we connect more deeply with ourselves. Take a couple expanded inhales and exhales while we're still in this child's pose, just to feel the inner body start to open up. One more breath, and on the exhale, melt the shoulders away from the ears, melt the hips down toward the heels. See if you can get out every last bit of stale breath on that exhale and clear space. And as you inhale again, we'll start to rise slowly up onto all fours. So you lift your hips up right over top of your knees and maybe bring your knees right underneath your hips so you feel very supported there. And right away, draw the belly and the front ribs in and walk the hands forward without letting the hips slide forward. So we start to elongate through the upper body all the way out through the palms. And then drop the heart down. And when you do, it might be real easy for those front ribs to drop down as well, but see if you can pull them back up into the body to keep that nice long line through your spine. Press down through all 10 fingers and keep the arms really straight and strong. So in order to find that openness across the chest, we have to put a little structure around the spaces that are opening. So arms are long and strong, knees, shins, and toes press down into the ground. And then the heart just kind of softens in that space between. And walk the hands back in so they come underneath the shoulders. And lengthen through the sides of the neck, like the turtle poking a head out of its shell. See if you can lengthen your head forward. We'll keep that nice, long, graceful, neutral spine. And we'll start to take the right arm up into the air, open out to the side. And lead from the back of your right shoulder. So instead of leading from the right hand, see if you can find the back of that right shoulder and pull it back until it feels like it's stacking on top of the left. And then stretch your arms out wide. So telescope out through the lengths of the arms. And now slide this right arm underneath the left arm, land on the right shoulder and right ear. Pause there, push the ground away with the left hand, that hand that's underneath the left shoulder, and draw the left shoulder back now. So now, left shoulder stacking on top of right. And we begin to use some proprioception in the body. We can't see the hips to know if they're truly in alignment, but we can feel our way around them and lengthen through the low back, spread through the low back, and kind of wag the hips maybe just gently side to side, maybe just a couple centimeters one direction and then the other, until you feel a spot where you're like, oh yeah, that feels more centered, more balanced, and spin the chest against that traction. And then push the ground away and come all the way up on the left hand again. Reach the right arm up to the sky. Keep the hips stacked right over the knees so that we unwind that twist. Keep the right arm reaching up into the air. Take the left foot behind you and open into a modified side plank from here. So there's that opening sensation when you let the hips go and let the right hip stack on top of the left. Snuggle the right shoulder blade down your back, almost cupping, or left shoulder blade rather, cupping that left side of the body. And then maybe pick the right leg up into the air so that it's parallelish to the ground beneath you. Right away, flex your toes, push out through your heel, and see if you can turn all 5 toes of the right foot so that they're parallel with the floor too, rather than letting the big toe turn up. We're activating more outer glute medius. And then bend the right knee, reach the right hand back for the top of that ankle or foot. If you can catch hold, great. Find that bind and then use the bind to activate it, kick back into the hand so that the chest blossoms forward. If you don't have the bind, don't sweat it, but stay active in it. Keep actively reaching for the foot. Keep actively pulling the heel toward the hip so that you stay engaged in the pose. Lengthen everything back out again. Right leg goes back, right arm goes up, and extend down through your tailbone. Take any of that back bend away now. We'll swing the right leg out in front of your body, so over to that side edge of your mat. And notice if the hips start to lean back or that left hip starts to push out to the side. See if you can draw it underneath your body. So you're firming that hip in. And then slide this right leg back toward the back of the mat again. Swing it out in front of you with control. Right out in front of your hip. And then back toward the back of the mat. So we're working in one plane here, keeping it level as we swing it forward out in front of the body. And keep it at that same level as you swing it back. One more time, take it out in front of your body. So off to the side edge of your mat, and go ahead and let that foot rest down. So off to the right edge of your mat, and then let your right hand come down and square off through your chest. We'll walk the hands in toward that standing knee, come all the way up, like we're coming into gate pose. Grab your hips and see if you can balance out the two halves of the pelvis. So maybe a little rocking side to side again here until you can snuggle that right hip down in line with the left. Plug down through the sole of the right foot. And start to wrap your hands toward the back of your hips now. And as those hands go back, let the elbows go back too. And try to fold your butterfly wings onto your back by pulling the elbows back behind you. And that right there might be the heart opener, the lung opener, the breath opener that you need. You can also activate more deeply by lifting the heart up toward the ceiling, dropping the tailbone down. So we work in layers and we work in dimensions, and it's all just opportunity to integrate, to connect all the dots between the different realms of our body, spirit, mind. We'll stack the spine tall. So look forward, really heavy through the back of your hips here. Let your right arm slide down the right leg, left arm come up by your ear, and side body bend. So gate pose, Parigrasana. Imagining that your left arm is an appendage of the hip, not just of the shoulder. So imagine that you're growing longer all the way up through that left side of the body. Palm turns down. Inhale, come back up through center. Pad your hands out onto the floor in front of you. Keep your legs just as they are. So my right leg is still straight out to the side, just for the moment. And then I'm going to take the right leg and swing it back, tuck the right knee behind the left knee, and center my knees on my mat. Tuck your toes under, and lift your hips up and back into a cross-legged downward facing dog. Now, if this is just too weird and uncomfortable for you, absolutely uncross the legs. That's totally fine. But I like playing with this as a little self-assist, because in down dog, we really want the thigh bones to go up and back. And so the front leg here is your assist, right? You push that left thigh bone into the right thigh bone, and the whole pelvis can elevate. Give space for the low back to lengthen out. Everything else pretty much the same as in downward facing dog. You're plugged through the palms and the finger pads, broadening across the upper back so that there's space on either side of the neck. The waistline goes up and back with the hips, and the heels sink down toward the earth. Keep these crossed legs if you've still got them, and come forward into plank. Shift right over the heels of your hands and look just slightly forward of your mat. So we're going to do a little cha-cha here. I'm going to take my right leg and tap it out to the side off the edge of my mat. And then I'm going to take it underneath the left leg, cross again, press the weight into my right foot so my left leg can go out to the left and tap. Left leg goes under, stand onto those left toes, take the right foot out, tap. Now once you've got the rhythm and you've got the pattern, notice if you started to coil the chest underneath the body or the shoulders started to round. See if you can draw the upper back out long again. Use that proprioception, trust the movement. So you can disengage visually and find a focus. maybe on the floor in front of you, maybe even behind closed eyes, like you're gazing at your third eye center. As we cha-cha-cha. And we'll finish with the left thigh bone crossed in front of the right thigh bone again. And we'll send the hips up and back to that downward facing dog again. Good, now move that left foot to where you can really plant it securely into the mat and lift the right leg up behind you, three-leg dog. We'll pause in the three-leg dog. Feel the strength of your legs. Keep the legs really strong and start to walk the hands back toward the standing foot at the back of your mat. Lengthen your belly over the left thigh. Reach the crown of the head down toward your toes. And we'll drop the right foot next to the left. Take a halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana at the back of your mat. Forward fold, Uttanasana over both legs. Another round of breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Come through that halfway lift and rise all the way up to stand. Arms come up by the ears. Maybe the gaze flies high too. And exhale. Take your hands to your hips. Put a little bend in your knees, but stabilize through the legs. We're going to circle just the hips like a hula dancer. So either direction. And I want you to really find those outer edges, kind of that outer rim of the hip bones. I liken this to getting a little massage for the fascia, the sheath of muscle on the outer hips. And again, it's another kind of little self-assist thing where the bones can press out into that fascia and massage it to be a little more supple. And then change direction, go the other way with your circles. And end up with your booty back behind you. So sticking your sits bones out. And with the sits bones out and back behind you, pull the thigh bones up into hip sockets. And then take any swoop out of the low back by lengthening the tailbone down. That's the freedom in the low back that we'll use to stand up into mountain pose. Rotate your palms forward. Take a big breath in. And let a big breath out. Inhale, your arms go up overhead again. And exhale, dive into your fold. Halfway lift, lengthen, look forward. And walk the hands out to plank. Traditional plank this time, 2 feet firmly planted, chest pulling forward toward the fingertips. So stay with the body like a plank as you shift forward onto the tips of the toes and lower down to the mat. Elbows skim those side ribs. Then point your toes back behind you and lift your chest, cobra pose. Stay here as you exhale. Next time you inhale, intentionally fill up your low back with your breath. And stay as you exhale. And do that one more time. Balloon at the low back. And exhale, lower down. Push up onto all fours. Come into your tabletop position. We start again, but from a completely different place. We'll take the left arm out and up and start to span open through the chest. And my right shoulder was just trying to kind of hug up toward my ear, so check that out on you as well. Maybe you can pull the right shoulder down toward your side ribs. And that'll just keep that long line through the collarbones and the opportunity to expand through the upper chest. Reach out a little bit more, give it a little more juice. And then swoop the left arm underneath the right arm. Land on the left shoulder, left ear. And tonight you can take another variation if you like, but the variation I'm offering is really using that supporting hand, so in this case it's the right hand, to operate the twist and really operate the pose. And so the more you push down through the right hand, the more you start to peel the right side body back. Tonight's practice is pretty slow and steady, but it is not without a lot of action. So my hope is that you find the full potential of the action in each of these poses, whether we're holding and we're still, or we're moving and it's more dynamic. There's always action to engage in. Add some deep breath to the back of the heart space here. And then we'll push up. Open the left arm out to the side again. Reach across your chest, lean your shoulders back. And we're gonna open all the way into that modified side plank. So maybe your right shin becomes a little kickstand. And then just open the hips up. And settle into this modified side plank momentarily. So enjoy that release of the tension after just the shoulders were twisting. And then when you're ready to start adding in, we'll lift the left leg up, parallel to the ground. And find that alignment where your outer ankle is pointing up toward the ceiling, your inner ankle is pointing down. So a lot of times that means rotating your big toe down a little more than feels natural. So you can peek down, check it out. And then we'll bend that left knee, reach back with your left hand. Maybe you find the foot. If you do, you kick the foot into the hand, move the chest forward, move the shoulder blades together on your back. If the hand does not reach the foot, you keep working the action. Keep on churning. The benefit, a purpose in these poses is not found in their peaks. It's not found in accessing specific variations or complications of postures. It's found in the action, the process of working toward the posture. Release that back leg and stretch out long again. Left arm over the body, left leg toward the back of the mat. And here's where we'll really stabilize through the core and the sides of the waist. And slide that left leg out in front of the body. And notice if it gets a little droopy here. See if you can keep it up hip height. See if you can pull the right hip underneath your body a little bit more instead of sticking your butt out behind you. And then take the left leg back, straight back. And then slide it out. My neck's getting a little tired here, so you can look down at your right hand if that's the case for you too. Let's do that a couple more times. Taking the left leg forward and back. This time, we'll take it all the way out in front of the body. Pause there. Rotate that big toe down again. And then we'll land the left foot. Drop your left hand down. Square off your chest and your shoulders. And so you'll square everything off, align everything over your right knee and shin. Walk the hands in. And stand up in this yeet pose shape. Hands move to the low back. You can cup the back of the hips or point the fingertips down to remind the back of the pelvis to get heavy. Start to curl the elbows back and the outer edges of the shoulders back, like you're kind of coiling the sides of the chest back. If it feels okay for you to start to lift the chin and open the throat, then you can play with that, but keep the back of the neck long. A lot of times, the fullest expression of some of these poses are a place where we're not actively engaging, right? We kind of allow our bodies to almost collapse into them instead of staying really integrated. So see if you can stay involved in the action. And look forward, lengthen the spine, head over the heart, heart over the hips. Left hand down the left leg, right arm up and over, side body stretch. Turning that right palm down, you can imagine just getting a little shower of your own self-care here. As you work your way through the body in this physical practice, be sure to incorporate some visualization and some mental work as well, right? We can apply the mind in really positive ways. It gets a bad rap sometimes in yoga. The mind's always getting in the way and it's fueling ego. But we can use the mind in positive ways too. Inhale and come back up. Walk the hands out in front of the body. Lengthen through both sides of your waist, especially that left side that was just compressed. As you take the left knee back behind you, that might help to lengthen that out too. And then center your knees in the middle of your mat. All right, so we've got inner thighs connected here, knees tucked into one another. We'll curl the toes under and press the hips up and back to our funky down dog variation. And now right thigh bone is pushing the left thigh bone up and back. And there's a soft quality to the knees here. So we're not trying to hyperextend through the knees, certainly. But feel how you can keep that bend and still get really active, pressing the thigh bones up and back, spreading the sits bones. And we take this into a cross-leg plank by gliding forward. And pull the chest way out in front of the mat. I'm going to reverse our pattern a little bit, but you'll catch on right away. You'll remember it in the muscles. So let's take the right leg out from underneath the left leg and step it over to the left side of the mat. And then take the left leg out from underneath there and step it to the middle of the mat. And then take the right leg out to the right and tap. Now right leg over the left leg out to the left tap. Left leg over the right leg, your hips will swivel. And then right leg out, tap. Okay, unround the back and keep going. We step over and out, over and out. Pull the chest forward toward the fingertips. And then just like you're dancing, get light on the toes. And we'll finish with right thigh bone in front of the left this time. Send the hips up and back. Push the right thigh bone into the left. Land your right foot and let the left leg fly free. 3-leg dog. So, activate through the legs. Really reach through both legs. So you're reaching down through the right leg and up through the left. And with all that action, then the hands get a little bit lighter and they can walk back toward the standing foot. Lengthen into this bow. Reverently bowing toward yourself, toward your strong body, toward your ability to find balance, even in challenges, even when this practice is designed to kind of throw us off course, right? Bow to the teacher in that. And then take the left foot down to meet the right foot. Halfway lift the spine. Forward fold. Empty the breath out of the belly. See if you can lift the hips up a little bit higher. So you take another breath. And on an inhale, plug down through your feet first. Rise all the way up to stand, sweeping the arms up by the ears. And exhale, take your hands down to your hips. And actually, let's slide the hands down to the tops of the knees. So hips go back in a little modified chair pose here. And let's do some cat and cow. Round through your back, chin to your chest. And then kind of pull back on your knees and let your heart come forward. You can stick your booty out behind you. Exhale, round in and stretch the back of the throat. And then open up front body, chin lifts. And tuck in. And then extend. Good. From this position, from this cow position, booty back behind you, do what we did before. Start to spread across your low back, lengthen your tailbone so there's no more dip. And then from there, stand up mountain pose, turn your palms forward, inhale, reach the arms to the sky, breath comes in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, and walk it out. Hands forward to the front of the mat, plank position. Rock forward to the tips of the toes. Let the whole body land very gently on the mat. Toes point back behind you, and this time the arms go back alongside the body as well. Chin to the mat. So pick the belly button up off of the floor, pull it up into the body, and by doing that, you start to create a connection between your lowest ribs and your hip points, your frontal hip points, which is what we talk about a lot to make sure that there's fullness in the low back. See if you can maintain that action while you also lift the arms, the chest, the legs. Really tricky to do both of those at the same time. And then pick the upper arm bones up and back so the arms go higher. And see if you can tap your thumb tips together behind your back. You might miss. Lift up a little bit more. And then separate the thumbs and lower down, chin to the mat. Take a breath. Let's try it again. Pull the belly up and in. Cinch the front ribs toward the hip points. And then lift up, arms up, legs up with that solidity at your core. And touch the thumb tips back behind you. With the thumb tips touching like electricity, spread through the fingers, lift up through the chest. And release back down. Breathe into your belly and your low back. And then one more time. Navel engages. Stay active there as you lift up, locust pose. Wrap your upper arm bones behind you. You'll have a better shot then of bringing those thumb tips to touch. Open up the collarbones, breathe in. And exhale, release, breathe out. Turn your right cheek to the mat. And rest. So I've been talking a lot about staying active in the poses. And there's opportunity to be active here, even while we're resting. You can really intentionally allow the low back to soften. Allow yourself to feel fully relaxed. Let's turn the left cheek to the mat and rest there. And it's only for a moment that we're here, so savor the few breaths that we have to completely relax. Savor the feeling of the weight of your body on the floor. Then turn your head to neutral. Reach into the mat again. Bring the hands up alongside the chest. And push yourself up onto all fours. Tabletop. Take the right leg back behind you. 3-leg table. Zipper up through the belly. Again, feel that connection at your core so that you make space to pull the right knee forward and step the right foot through in between the hands. So I'm not in a full lunge. I'm in more of a kneeling position. I'll bring my hips up over my left knee. Let's reach both arms up into the air. Grab your left wrist and pull your body up and over to the right. Inhale back up through center. And then bring your hands to your heart. Lean weight into your right leg, so much so that the left leg starts to get light. Maybe you curl those left toes under and push off the knee, push off the toes, and find your way into Warrior 3. From your inner left thigh, press out all the way to your inner left ankle and inner left heel. And then keep reaching that inner left leg back as you step back into your crescent lunge. Land softly on the ball of the foot. Take the arms up into the air. Yeah, drop the tailbone down. Inhale as you gaze out at the horizon. Exhale as you feel your feet firm into the floor. We'll stand up and bring the left knee up into the chest. So again, lean weight forward into the right leg and balance. Left knee comes forward. Right hand grabs that left knee, left arm reaches back behind you. And it's just like that open arm twist we did in tabletop before. The hips stay square and the arms, these appendages of the heart, start to spread. Okay. We'll take this back into a warrior two. So you kind of see out of the corner of your eye where the left foot's going to land. And that left side body is inclined to open naturally to that side. Find a landing pad and find warrior two. Reach forward with your right fingertips and then bring your elbow to your thigh, your hand to the floor on the inside of your ankle. Left arm up and over your ear. Good, like a rainbow. We're gonna come all the way up and over with both hands and turn toward the back of the mat, pivoting into a low lunge. Pause there, lengthen from your back heel all the way to the crown of your head. And let's do that again, rainbow all the way around to the front of the mat, bending into your right knee, coming into your low lunge. And now we'll drop that left knee down again, rather, and we'll move back into a position like we were in before where we were kind of kneeling. And if you want to double up your mat or if you've got something soft to put underneath your left knee here, you might like that. We'll do a little camel variation. So let's take both arms up in the air and take the right hand and dial it back behind you. Maybe start at the back of the hips. So hips push into the hand just as much as the hand is pushing into the hips. And from there, you'll feel like, oh, I'm turned on, I'm active in the core, and I can lift up through the heart space. And my chest can float in that space above the structure. If it's available to you, maybe the right hand, without seeing where it's going, finds that left heel. But you continue to work the connection of hips to core and core to heart. And stay active right at the edge of your pose. And then look forward. Cycle both arms up by the ears. Again, take the back bend out of the body. Fill up the back body with breath. Puff it out. And exhale, take your hands down to the mat. Tuck your left toes under. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, let's fly forward, shoulders over the wrists. Exhale, chaturanga. Maybe all the way to the floor. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Externally rotate your upper arm bones. Give freedom to those spaces that get compressed. The spaces around the shoulders that carry the weight. And drop back down onto your knees. And then send that left leg back behind you in your three-leg table. Pull the belly up and in so that the left knee can coil forward and left foot can step in between the hands. Kneeling position. So now you know we'll end up here again. So practicing that balance with the side bend here first. Grab your right wrist and pull up and over to the left. So really there's opportunity to feel this stretch from the right knee all the way up, right thigh and hip, right flank, right arm. And inhale, back up through center, lengthen through both sides of the waist. Take your hands to heart and lean forward into your left foot. Prepare for liftoff, warrior three. Maybe push off the back toes or drag that leg forward. Find the strength to stand in your left foot. Poses like this where we have to stay active in order to balance are good teachers as well. We're not moving out of the pose if we're wiggling and wobbling. We're going deeper into the pose by managing all those fluctuations, responding with deeper intention, responding with more focus. Lengthen through the inseam of the right leg and step the right foot to the back of the mat. Crescent lunge, arms come up by the ears. And then so that you don't sit in your low back, focus on fluffing up the low back with the breath, or the whole back body with the breath. Next, so we stand up. So we'll push off the back leg again. Lean forward with the chest if that helps you to angle forward and draw the right knee up to balance. Take the left hand to the right knee. Take the right hand toward the back of the mat. Eyes can land wherever it's helpful for balance or helpful for challenge. Grow taller in the pose. And then we're going to open to this right side of the mat. So see where you want to go. Keep reaching back with your right hand, and we'll start to extend the right leg back. Let the toes catch you, and then land the heel, Virabhadrasana 2. Extend forward through the left side body, left elbow to thigh or hand to the floor, right arm over the ear. And then really lengthen out the left side ribs. So start to reach up with the right arm, straighten the left leg and spin toward the back of the mat, low lunge. Press into the ball of the back foot as you pull the heart forward and upward. And we'll do that big rainbow move again, up and over toward the front of the mat. Low lunge, back knee down. Shift your weight back so you're upright over your right knee. And take the arms up in the air. Left hand will dial down. You can start at the low back if you know that that's a good range for you to start in. And then you've got these landmarks all the way down the back leg, working your way to the heel if you like. But first, integrate and activate. Pull the belly in, and then if you want to, find space for that heart. It floats above the structure you've created. Even the right arm is very active. It's not arbitrary that it's up here by the ear. It's pulling you up, keeping you lifted. And then look forward, dial the arms up by the ears. Take the hands down, frame your front foot. Step it back to downward facing dog. Slide forward, plank. Breathe in as you go, and then breathe out as you lower. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Another breath or two here in downward facing dog. And then we'll transition onto our backs. So you can walk your feet toward the back of the hands. You can hop right through. You can lower the knees down and just shift to the and come all the way down onto your back. Let's keep the knees bent, feet on the floor, so that we can have natural curvature through the spine, which means there will be a little space in most bodies away from the mat at the low back, that lumbar curve. Put your hands on your belly. Breathe softly for a moment. Maybe you can feel how the belly ebbs and flows with the breath. We're going to add a little bit of action to it. So we'll do a forceful exhale by contracting the abdominal muscles, kind of like you do in Kapalabhati. So we force the breath out of the nose. But I want you to notice that you can keep your natural low back curve while you do it. So go nice and slow here. Breathe in deeply and then force some breath out without rounding your low back into the mat. Keep going. And just notice things like if your low back starts to clench while you do this. See if you can alleviate some of that. Lengthen your tailbone forward, relax the back body. Really isolate that action in the frontal abdominals. Notice if the back teeth start to clench or the eyes start to squeeze. Again, see if you can let all of that go so we're just focusing on the simple action of pressing the breath out of the belly. And then come back to a really easy, soft wave of breath. No forcing, no pushing, no pulling. Let the belly move with that wave of breath very naturally. Widen your feet apart. Keep the knees bent. Drop both knees over to the left. You might keep your hands on your belly. You might stretch them out wide or make goalpost shape in the arms. Let's take 5 rounds of that forceful exhalation here in the twist. So we add a dimension. Breathe in through your nose. Pump it out of the belly. Then inhale the knees back up through center and take them over to the right. So it's a gentle twist. 5 rounds of that forceful exhalation. Make sure you're getting the full inhale. Inhale the knees back up through center. Hug the knees into the chest. Let the back body round a little into the floor now. Move into a happy baby or a deeper spinal twist if you like. I'm always a fan of rolling out the wrists and the ankles, those forgotten smaller joints. And then we wrap it up by extending out into active rest, Shavasana. Again, it's active in that we are fully invested, fully involved. It's not active through the musculature. It's not even active through the mind or any real intentional, energetic action either. It's active in that we are observant of all of that. Observing that at all times there's this wild force of energy that swirls within us and around us to be used for better or worse. It's ours for this time though, so practice the best ways to use it. This time where we're not quite sure where we land, which direction to go now, what to think, what to do. There's always the option to take action. There's always the option to be still. There's the option to take initiative. There's also the option to take the back seat and just listen and observe a little bit. Start to deepen the breath in a meaningful way, one that feels like it floods the heart with warmth and love and reassurance. Breath that moves into spaces of the body that maybe feel a little cold or dense or neglected. Work the breath all the way out to the fingertips and the toes, and then light up and begin to move. And start to reach the arms up overhead and extend out through the legs. And you can find yourself curled back into a ball in a big bear hug again, if you like. When you're ready, rock up to sit. Thank you so much. I wish that I could see you practicing along with me. That nourishes my heart. But just knowing that you're here can do the trick too. So thank you. I appreciate you. Namaste. Bye, everybody. Have a great night.